Yo, call me a rooster, the way I roster, and then I cockster. Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to the Game Sketch. Today, and only today, we are here to do something really fun and different, and that is going to be building a realistic but ultimate Sonic the Hedgehog fighting game roster. Now, what I've done here is I've had a grid, I have this in Photoshop, and it's gonna have 25 slots. Now, I know you could have a lot more, but realistically, a lot of fighting games nowadays launch with max 20 to 25 characters, depending on what the fighting game is. So, let's go with 25 for this one. And of course, after I fill this up, let me know what characters you would love to see and what kind of movesets you would love to see each character have. Now, let's start with the easy one, Sonic, right? When it comes to Sonic as a character, you could have a shit ton of options. You could do classic Sonic, you could do modern Sonic, you could do Secret Ring Sonic, Black Knight Sonic, Super Sonic. Like, that is going to be their Goku of this fighting game, right? But realistically, for launch, I'm thinking we're going to start with classic Sonic, right? That's going to be the easy starting pick, classic and even modern. And classic and modern would be pretty different. I feel like with classic, you could represent, you know, the older games. You could have maybe stuff like the drop dash in the moveset. You could have the peel out. You could have the bounce bubble. You could have the fire dash. Like, you can use a lot of the items and power-ups from classic Sonic to just showcase that sort of movement and style. And I think he would be less hand-to-hand combat-y and more just using abilities like spin dashes and bounces toward the enemy to do a lot of damage, which would be really cool. And if I were to picture his level 3, I feel like his level 3 would be him turning to Supersonic. If they want to turn to Hypersonic, though, wouldn't be mad. And like I said, when it comes to modern Sonic, they're probably gonna do a lot of DLC or different variants, much like they do with Goku nowadays. But I do think for base game Sonic, it's going to be Frontier Sonic, right? He's gonna have, you know, some key blast attacks. He's gonna have, you know, big spins in the air. He's gonna do like the crazy cool combos that you expect. It's obviously gonna be a good showcase of speed. And I really do wonder, let me know in the comments below, would you rather this game be a traditional 2D fighter, an arena fighter, sort of like, you know, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, or if they went sort of the Smash route, you know, where like they made their own version of Smash with Sonic characters? Let me know, because I've always thought about what I'd like. I feel like an arena fighter would do a really good job of showcasing each character's speed a little bit better than a 2D fighter. And like I said, with Super Sonic, do I want to make Super Sonic his own character slot, or would Super Sonic be an install for Super Sonic? I feel like it would be an install, but I wouldn't be shocked if they added a Super Sonic. Next up, you gotta have Shadow in here, right? Easily, 1000%, no question. That is the second poster boy of the series. And again, Shadow's a character you could technically have multiple versions of throughout the series, but he's in, right? He's gonna do all the crazy moves. He's gonna do chaos control, maybe freeze an enemy in place to set up a combo, which would be really cool. He's gonna teleport around. He's gonna do his attacks. He's gonna do his chaos spears. Like, I feel like you're gonna have a good balance of long range and short range with Shadow. And I wonder if they would go the route of using his Doom powers from the new game, or would they make that its own character? And much like Sonic, I think he would have a Super Sonic install. Like, maybe if you charge up level 2 or level 3, he could turn to Super Sonic, and then he stays in that form for a while, doing some crazy moves. And of course, I think his final move, which would be really cool if he did a level 3. It'd be cool if he redid the thing from the Shadow the Hedgehog intro where he's just teleporting, attacking a bunch, or obviously it was Super Sonic just doing a giant key blast or some kind of crazy move. Next up, we gotta have the one and only girly pop, Amy Rose. That's right. What is this game without Amy, right? She would obviously use her hammer. She would be very, you know, close base, but I think the Pico hammer is also good. She could technically toss it. So I feel like Amy would be one of the top tiers in the game because she would have a good range of close range and far range. Now, I know obviously a lot of people like to joke around about the fact that she'd probably use her tarot cards today. I do think tarot card Amy would be her own character slot eventually. In fact, I think they just did that for Sonic Speed Dash, where she has like a cool skin for tarot card reading attacks. I think that would be really cool though, as a different variant of the character. She leaned on her more Frontiers moveset as well, where she can roll around in the set of cards or everything. But I think she would be a second version of Amy. And I always vision her level 3 just being like her swinging her hammer like crazy. You know, she doesn't have a super form, sadly, or she does that move that classic Amy does, where she tosses a shit ton of hammers. And would classic Amy be his own character? Maybe they do it as DLC. Obviously, next up, we gotta have Knuckles in here, the GOAT, the ultimate brawler. Not really a shocker. Obviously, he would be very, you know, fist heavy, and I wonder if his level 3 would just be him turning to Super Knuckles, or would it just be him doing like a crazy bash to the character? I picture him being like Luke, right? Whereas like level 3 is just him like taking you to the ground and just punching you a bunch, or maybe using his drill attack to go through you, or tossing a giant boulder. I think they could do a lot of cool shit with Knuckles. And what kind of variations could you do with Knuckles? Because there's really a difference between different iterations of Knuckles Knuckles. I mean, unless they did Boom Knuckles, which would be really tall as shit. I guess movie Knuckles would be like different and distinct enough in terms of design and how, you know, maybe prowls or whatever the move is. That could be kind of cool, but I think it is just going to be Knuckles, at least for base roster. Of course, we got to have Tails in here, right? That is the golden boy of Sonic, you know, Sonic's player 2 and one of the most popular characters in the series. You got to have them in there. I think Tails would be the technical character, right? He's going to be the one who just tosses a bunch of, you know, hammers at you or tosses a bunch of wrenches at you, apparently. Could use his tornado maybe for specials, like press a button to summon some robots he's made. Like, he's definitely going to be a bitch to deal with. I don't see him really using a mech because that's not really Tails' shtick. I mean, he does kind of use a mech in Sonic Adventure 2, so I can see him pulling that mech up. But I don't know. I think Tails could use his Tails for attacks, and you could also technically have classic Tails maybe as a variant of the character. Next up, another obvious one we need, Eggman, right? Well, how are you going to have a Sonic fighting game without Eggman? He is the one that I picture being in a mech. In fact, I feel like if the game maybe had an option, kind of like how modern fighting games have, where you could pick character styles for different moves and stuff, I feel like Eggman would choose which mech he starts with. You'd obviously envision him to be in, you know, the classic Eggmobile. Maybe he could summon the giant ball from Sonic 1. That would be really cool. But when it comes to Eggman, oh my god, like all the robots he's made over the years and mechs he's made, there's infinite possibilities for what he could do. I mean, I think his level 3 would be him going into the Egg Dragoon, because that's like his iconic design, and that would be just him going crazy on you, which would be really dope. But yeah, Eggman, you gotta have him in here. But how are we gonna have Eggman without one of his children, and that is Metal Sonic, obviously one of the most popular characters in the series, and I think a character you gotta have in here, regardless of how you feel. You know, he is not just gonna be Sonic. He has his own different moves. He can use his abilities from the Metal Sonic fight that's iconic from the series, do some crazy spins, do some cool attacks. But Metal Sonic is 100% guaranteed launch, and I wonder if, now here's the thing, right? Metal Sonic also has a lot of potential, right? Because, you know, he could technically turn to Neo Metal, but he could also have a character variant for Neo Metal, and I think that would be DLC. I think you sell like Neo Metal Sonic as DLC or whatever the different forms. There's a lot of variants of Metal Sonic that they could sell as DLC 100%. Unless his level 3 is him just having all the different versions of Metal, sort of how what's it called, Mega Man's is in Smash, and just have them all do a giant attack, which would also be pretty fucking awesome. Or what if like his entire moveset was him being able to switch to different Metal Sonic forms? What if he started as like Metal Sonic version 1, where he's just like this little silver bot from the original, then he evolves to Metal, then he evolves to Neo. It would be fun. Oh man, or Mecha, oh god. And of course, we gotta have Rouge the Bat, aka the girly pop, aka Girl Boss, easily. I mean, she's also been a fighter in a lot of the series. She knows how to do hand-to-hand combat incredibly well, and she's obviously one of the most iconic characters in the series, one of the baddest. I can't wait for all the character skins that they give her. Oh lord, have mercy on me. But yeah, no, those moves are gonna be sick. And I think, like I said, she's gonna be close range fighter. She's probably gonna be the character that can fly. You know, there's always a fighting game character that can fly in the air for a little bit. I think that's gonna be her. She's gonna utilize those wings a lot, but it is gonna be her doing maybe dive attacks into the air, kick flips. She's gonna have a sick moveset. God, I almost forgot Eggman's second child, Sage, right? We obviously gotta have Sage on this list. You know, she is the ITGIRL of the modern games, and obviously you need her, right? She's gonna use a lot of her telekinesis abilities, or sort of maybe she's gonna like summon a Titan. I mean, I think that's her level 3, right? Her level 3 is gonna be her activating Giganto, and Giganto's gonna grab you and toss you onto the giant wall. That is a lock for Sage's level 3, and I would just love to see what kind of cool, crazy moves she would do. I think, like I said, she's just gonna use a lot of manipulation. She's gonna be a long-range character. You're not gonna want to be close up with her, and she's just gonna summon things to attack you. And speaking of telekinesis and summoning things to attack, Silver, right? We gotta have Silver the Hedgehog. That's easily going to be a launch character in there. One of the most popular characters in the series. He's gonna be awesome. I would love to play as Silver in a fighting game, especially, again, like I said, his telekinesis is gonna be lit. He's definitely gonna summon things to toss to you. I see him being a bit like Beerus from Dragon Ball FighterZ, which means he would be a character that I wouldn't really play, because he would probably summon a bunch of things around you, and he would be one of those technical characters where you could start a combo, and one of your things that you've left on the field you could toss at your enemy. Obviously his level 3 would probably be Super Silver, doing some crazy finisher, which I would love. But yeah, Silver a lot, come on now. And of course, if you got Silver, you gotta have the girly pop Blaze in here, a massively popular character, another girly pop for the roster. And come on now, she is the queen. She could have a bunch of cool fire moves. I mean, I think she would be the only fire-based character in the roster / in the series. You can see her tossing a bunch of fireballs. You can get Soul Blaze in there, Super Blaze, whatever you want to call her, as an install for her. That would be like her level 3, her big finisher, and she could do a lot of shit. Again, you could even sell her super form as a DLC later on, but everybody knows you gotta have Blaze in there. She is super cool. Her fire spins, everything. Oh, I can't wait. Gimme. And she's also like a close range fighter too. You've seen her fight up close, so it's gonna be crazy to see what they do with her. Now, I debate in my mind if we need Omega or Gamma, and as much as I like Gamma from OG Adventure, I feel like Omega is the character they're gonna go with, just because that's been their character that they've been leaning on a lot more throughout the series. Also, this is driving me fucking crazy. But yeah, no, Omega you gotta have in there. He's obviously gonna be heavy on different weapons and guns. I could see him being a big heavy character, right? Because we don't really have heavies in this roster so far besides Eggman. So he would be the heavy character. He would be the gunner. I could see him being a little bit like Zangief, being a little freak, just tossing you around, going crazy with it. His grabs would be insane. I had pictures level 3 just being like him going berserk mode, you know, like 10 different guns pull up out of him, giant rockets, lasers, everything destroying you. Now, I've thought about this for the Chaotix. What do? Do they separate Vector, SPO, and Charmy, or do they make them as one? I'm gonna make a bold claim that they are going to be one. I feel like they are gonna be the character swap character, right? Where you have a Vector doing some heavy attacks, you could swap into SPO for doing some quick attacks, then you could do Charmy, or no, like SPO would sort of be like the middle character doing middle damage, and then you'd have Charmy showing up and doing some pokes, you know, some easy light damage. But I don't know, I feel like they could be separated, but for the sake of this, I would see them being a fun little trio character. I think that would be really cool. I think they have enough of a dynamic and they are tied enough to this day that them being a trio character makes a lot more sense than anyone else here. And what is a fighting game without its gag character? And that is going to be Big the Cat. Of course, you gotta have Big in there, another heavyweight character that could be in there, and he's just gonna be the joke character. He's either gonna be extremely busted or complete ass, but I could see him, you know, using his fishing rod to reel you in, start a combo, right? Summon Froggy or toss Froggy at you for a special move. Like, I feel like you gotta have Big the Cat in there, whether it's a joke or not. Get a remix of his theme from Sonic Adventure. Go crazy with Big. Do whatever you want. Make him an all-powerful being or the worst character in the game. And speaking of Sonic Adventure characters, I think you gotta have Chaos in here, right? Chaos is enough of a popular villain, and obviously his entire moveset could be revolved around the fact that maybe as more you fight, you get like this meter that's building up where you get more Chaos Emeralds, and you get turned to the different Chaos forms. Obviously, you know, Final Chaos or Perfect Chaos would be probably his big level 3, but yeah, Chaos is gonna be a really cool character. I feel like you do a lot of variant moves, and he's essentially like the Boo, I guess, of the series or this fighting game, where you could technically separate Chaos forms into different characters, but I do think they're gonna have one Chaos, and his whole flow is gonna be transforming mid-fight. And this is one of my crazy picks that I think you gotta have in there, the Chow. The Chow are gonna be your tiny little annoying character. They're either gonna put them in some funny mech or something, but I feel like you gotta have the Chow in there, whether, you know, it's a trio of Chow, whether it's different variants of Chow. I feel like they gotta be in there. They'd be a hilarious pick, and I feel like they could do so much dumb shit. Like, maybe they could just like toss things at you like they're a whining baby. They can crawl towards you. Now, again, there's an argument that they wouldn't put them in because they don't want you beating up a little thing, but come on, he could be like Neko Arc, where he's just running around a little small, fighting around this. So please, Chow, add them into the fighting game roster. And as much as I hate this guy, I think they're gonna have him here, Zavok, right? They're gonna have Zavok. He's gonna be a heavy. They keep trying to make this guy a thing. They put official art of him. They put him in the racing games, the mobile games, everything. They love Zavok, right? And if they're gonna have one of the Deadly Six or whatever, it's gonna be him. And maybe he can use, you know, tag and assist of the other Zeddy, but it's gonna be Zavok in there. He's gonna be the big heavy brother. You know what I expect? Actually, I think Zavok is gonna be the Zangief, which is gonna make him annoying as shit. He's gonna go for big grabs. He's gonna hit you. He's gonna take half your life bar. I'm gonna hate him even more. I hate Zavok. Another really dope pick I think you gotta have in here is Emerald, right? Emerald getting popular now because of Shadow Dark Beginnings teaser, and he is quite literally the de facto fighting game variant of the characters. I mean, the entire plot line is him learning each character characters, attacks, and movesets. So I think he's gonna be, I don't know if I would call him a clone, but I feel like they would do a good job of giving him these Sonic battle movesets. So maybe you can see like those forward kicks or those aerial push-ups or everything, like the cool moves that are in Sonic battle. I think Emerald is going to apply this, and like I said, with his popularity and whatever he's gonna be doing in Shadow Dark Beginnings, I think you gotta have him in here. Ooh, okay. I'm running out of the obvious picks. There's a lot of options, but it depends what they want to go with there. I am thinking and leaning on something really cool. All right, one of my big predictions is that one character, at least in the base roster, is going to be from IDW, right? And I think that's going to be Surge. I think Surge's popularity has been massive. Now, I know a lot of people could argue Tangle and Whisper are really popular, and I think they're going to have them, but I think they're going to have them as DLC characters, right? But I do think one of the launch characters for the game, big surprise, is going to be Surge, because one, her moveset in a lot of ways is like Sonic, so it's easy to adapt. Two, she's really popular. Three, she's a high action character from one of the most popular IDW arcs, and I just think Surge would be a big surprise. It would be a big way to get the, you know, IDW characters into the fold, because they've been mentioned now in official Sonic canon with Sonic Frontiers. So I think Surge is the wave. All right, now for the final row, I'm gonna go with my first option here. It's gonna be Jet the Hawk. I think Jet the Hawk would be a cool representative of Sonic Riders. In a way, I feel like, you know, he could be on his skateboard, you know, the whole time. I think he could do really crazy moves, or maybe he could push you away with the jet fuels. He could do some crazy flips, some attacks in the air, like, you know, spin all around with it. I think it would be a really cool way to represent Sonic Riders. I think it's like the only way to do it. And I think whether it's Jet the Hawk or it's Team Babylon as like one character, I feel like this would be just a really cool way to represent Riders as a series. And maybe he could, you know, with different attack variants, swap the different rider cards. That way you could get a good representation of each one. Maybe each one would make him faster, slower. I don't know, but I feel like Jet the Hawk being there frame one would be a really cool factor. All right, another character that I think would be a shocking one is Infinite right now. Not because I think Infinite is, you know, needed, but I think Infinite, of all places he could excel, would be a fighting game. You know, I feel like he's a character that, you know, he would have a cool moveset where maybe he could even summon. I think that's what would be cool about Infinite, is because he has the ability to like make the clones of everybody. He could do crazy things where like he summons like a black and red version of each character just to do an attack on you while he stays back and causes some chaos. So I think Infinite would be a really cool pick for a fighting game. His level 3 would just be maybe him putting you into null space, doing some crazy moves. Like if you're going to have some kind of redemption for Infinite, I feel like a fighting game is just how you do it. All right, while he drove me a little bit crazy in Sonic Superstars, I feel like Fang is an important character to have in there. I think he's really cool. I think he'd be a fun gunslinger. I love how he jumps on his own tail. I feel like he'd be like a very silly, cool character. His design obviously lends itself super well to a fighting game. Anyways, like I said, he could be a gunslinger. He could even use a mech because he has one in Superstars. His level 3 could be the awful, annoying final boss from the game. But yeah, I think Fang feels like a lock for a bit more classic representation. Maria, but she gets one shot. I'm a fucking idiot and I completely forgot cream and cheese. Literally, how can I forget? They are part of the main cast that should be up there. I'm so sorry, Cream. I'm so sorry. I forgot you. And then the final character will be the end. That's right. Wah, wah. No, because it's hard, right? Because I have a list in my mind, right? Like you could obviously have, like I said, super variants of the characters as their own thing. You could have Mephiles in there. You could have Sonic Man even as a gag character. You could have the Werehog. You could have Tangle Whisper. I'm sure thing. Guys, my final bold character choice, the Werehog. That's right, everybody. He's completely different from Sonic. It allows him to have another Sonic variant in there. He can do crazy stretch attacks. You all know he's going to be completely different. He can do crazy combos. He's in, bro. 100%. No question, no cap. But this, I think, is a pretty good starting roster. There's some variety here. You got the main cast. But again, when it comes to Sonic, you have a shit ton of options. I'm missing, man. I have a list over here in my mind. Like, you could, like I said, have super variants of the character. Like, I feel like a season pass alone is going to be Mephiles. Opposite Eggman, you could have Black Knight Sonic, which would be really cool in there. You could probably have Trip from Sonic, what's it called? From Sonic Superstars. You could have Tangle Whisper. You could have there's so many options for characters. Let me know if there's a character that you love that I miss, or let me know what your dream 25 roster character for the base game would be. Guys, I love you. Thank y'all for watching. And of course, I'll see you all next time. Peace out.